Alright, so I apologize for having to break this up into so many different videos. Like I said before, I've mainly taught this class using PowerPoints, and this is my first time using videos, which, please give me feedback at the end, and I'm going to refine my technique at the end. I'm sorry that it's not a little more professional for you guys, but I've had some problems with today's video being a little bit longer to show you all this library stuff, and it's YouTube is making me break it up into different videos. So I apologize for that, but we're almost done. This is the last one. But essentially you can refine your search here to get it down to fewer results. So full text, the most recent articles. And then you can click on the PDF here, which will give you, the full text of the article so that you can read it. It's taking a few minutes to load, but there it is. You can read it. So when you're doing research, there's so much we could cover in this. The book does a good job if you do the readings for this week, and hopefully you have some experience from before, but you can usually find abstracts, which if you click here, you'll probably see, which give you a little summary of the article. That can help you determine, this is the abstract right here, if you need to read it or not. The titles can be very helpful. But, narrow your search as much as possible using the options I showed you. Try to get it down to 50 articles is a good target range. We got ours down to 89, so we could probably do a little bit more. Maybe we limit it to the last 5 years instead of 10. But, it'll only take you about 10-15 minutes to scroll through these titles, maybe glance at the abstracts for a few that sound good, and then pick just a few. Because here's what the final worksheet asks you to do is pick, I think, I have to look at the worksheet, I think it's 2 or 3 of them, so it's going to pop up here in a second. But to pick just 2 articles and evaluate them. So again, back here there's some guidelines for evaluating articles, and your textbook is also helpful. And basically go through, are these good sources or not? Would they help me? And the final idea here, the final most important part of these handouts is this last one here, refine your research question. So we started with, let's say we started with, how do we define police brutality? Then maybe we moved, and then we did some research, we looked around, maybe we refined it to what could be done to stop police brutality against African Americans. Something like that. So you get more specific as you go. The research helps you see what information is already out there, and then you can kind of narrow. Well, people haven't talked about these things yet. It might be helpful for me to say this, because you don't want to just reiterate what is already out there. So, you have an initial topic, you do that general research, you learn more about it, you refine your question a second time, you use those key terms, and then you you look for more specific articles, and then you refine it again. And then when you refine it that last time, you can potentially answer it as your thesis statement. So say we started with what is police brutality, then we move to why is police brutality perpetrated against African Americans so often, because we did some general research and found that seems to be a trend. And so that helped us put African Americans into our search terms. Then we read some more specific articles. We refined it yet a third time to write it here at the end of this last worksheet, and we say, what could be done to stop police brutality against African Americans? That's our third and final one here. Then we answer that. We come up with a possible solution, and that could be our thesis statement in our paper. So it's just a hypothetical example. That's obviously a very tough question to answer. I could probably have come up with a better example, but the idea here is some general research on a topic you're interested in, refine it, more specific research, refine it again, come up with an answerable question, and then answer that question in your paper. So this is the research component. If you do these 3 worksheets and turn them in by Sunday, it'll help you with your research, and then that should help you come up with a topic, and then that can eventually be your thesis in the paper. So I'm leaving you here with, my refined research question is. The answer to that could be your thesis. That's where we'll pick up next week, and we'll start working on the actual paper. The research is the basis. So do the research this week, and let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully you come up with a great topic. Have a great week.